Hey guys, this is Mara and welcome back to my Art Break Life. I hope you're all having a fabulous day or evening wherever you are, and that you're taking time out of your busy days to kind of relax and enjoy a little art break. Whether it's drawing something, creating something, crafting something, starting a new project. But hopefully you are taking a break and exploring that creative side of you that makes you an artist. Starting a new sketchbook is always one of the hardest things for me. When I open up the book, it's so pretty and pristine, and I'm always so precious with my things because all these things cost money and I don't want to waste it by messing up a page. But I decided to be brave and just throw caution to the wind and just draw something. Now this book that I picked up here is a watercolor book, and it came with two. So I figured I could use one book to make my nicer images and the other book to test all my supplies in, which worked out really well because you want to make sure that you test your supplies on the paper you're actually using. And that for me stings a little because, again, I hate wasting supplies. So it's a good thing, but also something I need to get over and just use my art supplies as they were intended to. I was stalling to start this project because number one, it's a new sketchbook. I was afraid I'd screw it up. And number two, I was afraid of what medium to use because this is a watercolor book and this is my first watercolor sketchbook. And I was telling myself after I ordered it, don't be precious with it, don't be precious with it, just draw. Whether it looks good or not, just fill the pages because practice is what I need right now. And it's so hard for me to get over that because I feel like every page needs to be a masterpiece. I didn't know where to start with this book. So I skipped the cover page because the cover page is that page where it kind of gives you an overall impression of the book. And I'll go back to that later when I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with what I'm doing in this book. And so I went to the second page and decided, okay, let's just draw anything. And I decided to choose cherubs because it's Valentine's Day and I figured cherubs represent Valentine's Day. I found a few reference images online and just decided to draw it in pencil first because pencil is my comfort zone. I always prefer drawing with pencil over any other medium because it's so forgiving and I've just used it the longest. And then after I was done with the pencil drawing of the cherubs, I hesitated to start that watercolor process because I was like, oh, it actually looks all right as a pencil drawing. You know, I could just leave it and just work on shading it some more, which would have been fine and comforting for me. But I knew that this is a watercolor book and that I should try and use watercolor, which is why I put on my big girl pants and I started erasing all the pencil marks. I'm trying to challenge myself and to delve more into other mediums, which is why I went back to my watercolor. And this is the first image I've done, or first piece of work I've done with just watercolor. I've experimented with watercolor in my other book, in my other sketchbook, and because that paper was so bad, I didn't really get the true feeling of what it was like to use watercolors, and I just gave up on it, which is why I switched over to poster paint because it's more opaque and you don't need as much water to play around with that. But for this book, because it's a watercolor book, you can put a lot of water on it and spread those pigments around, and that was very different for me. I found out the hard way that I went in too dark too fast. I was really scared in the beginning, and I was being really careful about how much pigment was going down, and then I kind of just loosened up and just started to be more generous with the pigment, and that was my mistake. I had a light wash of pigment and it covered up some of the white areas. So when you work with poster color, I realized you can go from dark to light, light to dark, either way, because the pigment is so opaque and it does come up pretty easily. But watercolor, you have to go from light to dark. It's hard to go the other way. You have to be very careful if you go the other way and really plan your work. I believe I did an okay job with this piece of art. Definitely still a lot more to learn when it comes to watercolor, and I'm hoping that because I have this watercolor sketchbook now, that I will be doing more practice using maybe more colors this time. I stuck with just a single color to practice lighting and shadowing. And I know as I'm painting this in, I know the eyes are a little dark, but I was too afraid to blend it out because I was worried that it would blend away a lot of the white that I wanted to pop through on the eyes. So I know I've got a little bit more practice to do on this type of medium. And for the bow, Cupid's bow, I went in pretty dark. I thought, you know what, screw it. Let's just try it the way you would normally paint it, and it actually came out pretty well. I was impressed. But this is just a bow. It's not like as difficult as the nuances of the shadows on a person's face or skin. So I know I'm okay with inanimate objects, but faces I'm still working on. And these are my Valentine's Day cherubs, cupids, whatever you want to call them. That is my first drawing in my brand new watercolor sketchbook. And I'm hoping to do more of these watercolor studies in this book. I'm kind of excited to get started on more either portraits or still life. I'm not quite sure which way I want to go. I just did this one because it's Valentine's Day and I needed a subject, so that's why I chose these cherubs. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe, please do, and like the video if you do like it. And as always, you know what to do. Just keep drawing and creating. And this art break is done. Bye guys!